Hi students, coming to the next topic in the subject database management system is functional dependency. So this is one of the important concept that you have to know. It is a dependency relationship between the attributes that are present in the relation. So if you know what is a functional dependency, then it is easy for you to understand the different normal forms that are used in the for creating the tables. Okay, now let us see what is a functional dependency. A functional dependency is nothing but it is a relationship. It is a relationship that exists when one attribute uniquely determines another attribute. That you call it as a functional dependency. So means it in a table. Okay, so in a table a functional dependency is nothing but it explains the relationship that exists when one attribute uniquely determines the another attribute. So this uniquely determines the another attribute. Means it is a dependency relation is there between these two attributes. Attributes are nothing but the fields that are present in the table. Okay, so let us take, if R is a relation is nothing but a table. So this is an R is a relation. So a table with attributes X and Y. So X and Y. So here a functional dependency between these two attributes is represented as X points to Y, which specifies Y is functionally dependent on X. Means this Y attribute depends on X attribute. That you say Y is functionally dependent on X. Why this Y is dependent on X? Because X is always here uniquely determines the Y value. So this is a functional dependency. Means one attribute depends upon the another attribute. So let me take one more. It is a set of constraints between two attributes in a relation. We said it is a set of constraints between two attributes in a relation. So you can also say that functional dependency is nothing but it is a set of constraints, means some rules between two attributes in a relation. That is, this is the X attribute and this is the Y attribute. So Y is functionally dependent on X attribute. So here this X is always determinant. It determines the another attribute. So you call this X is a determinant. Means it is nothing but it is an identification key. You also call this as an identification key. An identification key can be uniquely determined. So that's why we are saying it is a relationship that exists when one attribute, that is the X attribute, uniquely determines the another attribute. So whenever we say it is a uniquely determines is nothing but it is having some identification key. Okay, so this whatever the attributes that values that are present in the Y, those Y values will depends on the X values. That is a functional dependency. So X always determinant and Y is always dependent. So here the right hand side is always depends upon the left hand side. Okay, let me take one example to explain about this functional dependency. Example. So if every attribute, suppose B of R, if every attribute B of R is a relational, means the table name. So in the table a B is one attribute. This B attribute dependent of A, then attribute A is a primary key. Primary key is nothing but it is a uniquely it is an identification key which is uniquely determined. So R is a relation. Here A and B are attributes. So this attribute A is represented as a primary key. Means this is uniquely determines. So that's why B always depends upon A. If B depends upon A, then a functional dependency exists between these two attributes. B functionally dependent on A. Okay. So suppose let us take example ID, name and surname. So here the ID, suppose we have taken as S1, name Bhanu and initial is P. S2 identification number Priya, this is G. S3 and again the name is Bhanu, this is M. Okay, so here this ID is nothing but it is a primary key, it is an identification key. Why I am calling this as an identification key? Because this is uniquely identified. With the help of this key we can identify the retrieve the values of the non-key attributes. So this should be unique, S1, S2, S3, three different values. Okay, so here you will get dependency relation between these attributes or ID, name. Means name is functionally dependent, name is dependent on ID. So with the help of ID we can retrieve the value of the name and the surname of that particular person. Okay, so that's why name is functionally dependent on ID. So here the name determines the values of ID. In the same way ID tends to surname. So this surname is functionally dependent on ID. So then you can say this table is in functionally dependent table. So these one attributes will be depends upon the another attribute, that is a key attribute. Then you can say it is a functional dependence. With the attributes, a relation that exists between those attributes is functionally dependent. I hope you understand what exactly the functional dependency is. Okay. Thank you.